I would like to pass on to Kenneth, who is the director for this event.
Thank you very much. Apologies that I'm on my mobile at the moment, but this function is going to be coordinated via WhatsApp, and at the moment I'm coordinated with 5 different cell towers with all the problems it takes. Although I've been very strict in saying you should need your mobiles charged, one of them didn't charge it. So we've had a hitch in the last minute, but we seem to be okay. So thank you for being here. I'm very appreciative of you coming here tonight. The event had its aims and hurdles. The aims are to have all bells in Cottonera synchronized with a historic speech. It was not the intention to ring the bells all at one time. Anybody can do that by agreeing on a time, and all the bells will ring simultaneously at a given time. That is easy to do. So what we thought about is that we are going to have a historic speech about the campanological developments in Cottonera, and specifically we shall be hearing each and every bell, every historic bell, in a chronological sequence as to how they have materialized and how they have been cast over the times. Why Cottonera? Very, very simple. This is a unique site, and I would dare say this is the first intervention, first such intervention that is occurring worldwide. It's because we've got the churches within earshot. For instance, Valletta is just opposite the harbour, but it is not. We need to have the bells close to us as much as possible so that we can follow what shall be read out tonight. St. Teresa was the first set that was considered for this event, just for the simple reason that at St. Teresa we have some excellent bells, but then we have extended this over the 3 parishes of Cottonera, including the Church of St. Dominic in Vittoriosa. Bells have been used many times in the past and originally were devised as a method of communication. I would just ask each and every one of you what it feels like if you had to forget your mobile phone at home, or else if your mobile had to go bust. You will be lost. And it is the same situation with bells. Bells were created as a means of communication in the past, and eventually they evolved in musical instruments, specifically to precise tonal harmonics. Obviously, that is what the 20th century has brought about. So the bell originally was devised as a means of communication. Eventually, it changed into a musical instrument. So, bells in Malta were dominated by, obviously, the Knights of St. John. The Knights of St. John came to Malta in 1530, particularly this place, the Cottonera port and the Grand Harbour, were the hub of all that passed through Malta during those times. So we had the Knights of St. John having their own foundry to cater for their military needs, to cast cannon, etc., etc. In times of war, they used to cast cannon. In times of peace, they used to cast bells. The foundry of the Order of St. John was called the Ferreria, the place where iron was made, coming from the term ferro. The Ferreria was in Valletta, just opposite the ruins of the Royal Opera House, and instead of it today there is Palazzo Ferreria, which gets the name also from the foundry of the Order of St. John that was there. The foundry used to be ruled by various master founders that normally used to hold the post till life. So we had a situation where master founders were very old and they kept in their position in casting cannon. and in casting bells. So, will you bear with me because I will be on my mobile phone while I am doing the speech. The oldest bell in Cottonera was cast in 1685 by Pietro Antonio Famuncelli. Pietro Antonio Famuncelli cast this bell for Cospicua Church specifically as a means of communication. The bell, in fact, is no precise musical instrument. It was one of three. It was actually the largest bell that was cast by Famuncelli for Cospicua, but its smaller two siblings have cracked in due course. The biggest one survived, and it survives not because it was a lucky bell, but being the largest bell, it was used less than its smaller counterparts. And because of this, because it was used less, the bell has survived to date. Pietro Antonio Famuncelli has very few bells extant in Malta. To our knowledge, he has one at the Church of St. Publius in Rabat. He's got another one at Zurich, and this one here, which still rings out from Cospicua Parish Church. After Pietro Antonio Famuncelli, we have Federico and Luca Menville, which took over the foundry of the Order of St. John, and they did cast a number of bells. In fact, Luca and Federico Menville were responsible for the foundry of the Order of St. John during the time of Grandmaster Ramon Pereyos y Rocafull. This was an event when the Menville founders took over the Ferreria. Their bells were not very good, and in fact, most of the bells cast by the Menville founders are to date either cracked or else not used with pleasure amongst the peals we have. In fact, one of them is the bell cast for the fortress of St. Angelo, but for all seasons I couldn't spare a person to go to Fort St. Angelo to ring the bell, but believe me, you're missing nothing. The second oldest bell in Cottonera is also from Cospicua, and this was cast in 1734. It was cast in 1734 by master founder Aloisio Bouchou. Aloisio Bouchou was the master founder of the Order of St. John during the time of Grandmaster Pinto de Fonseca. He started out during the time of Villena, and this particular bell is one of his earliest examples, specifically in his older profile. When we say profile, the shape of the bell is one of his primitive castings and one of the rare bells to have such a profile. The second profile that Aloisio Bouchou adopted for his bells was devised after 1739 and was, so to say, inaugurated for the Golzo Cathedral. In fact, Aloisio Bouchou was the nephew of Federico and Luca Menville. He played about in the foundry as a boy. Eventually, he surpassed his uncles, and he actually cast the two largest bells of St. John's Cathedral, weighing 4.5 tons and 7 tons, respectively. The two largest bells of the Golzo Cathedral in 1738 and 1739, respectively, and the small bell of the Chapel of Communion. So we can say that Aloisio Bouchou has worked in each and every major church of Malta. Sorry about that, but people are calling me on my mobile. I cannot switch off my mobile at this time. After Aloysius Boshu, we have the Trigans brothers. The Trigans brothers came into being in the order Sferreria, specifically at the time after Grandmaster Pinto de Fonseca died. The Trigans brothers were Francesco and Giacchino Trigans. They were inseparable by trade, but they could not work together. In fact, we have many times and documentary proof when they asked the treasury of the Order of St. John to split their roles because they were fighting incessantly on everything. So history repeats itself. We are dealing with human beings, and their bells are either signed as Fratres Trigans Fecerunt, meaning the Trigans brothers have made. Alternatively, it is either Francesco Trigans Fecit or else Giacchino Trigans Fecit. And after that we have another period of Fratres Trigans Fecerunt, meaning that they made friends again. Eventually, Francesco Trigans vanishes completely from the scene and Giacchino Trigans remains. So it means that he either decided not to cast any more bells or else Francesco Trigans died and left Giacchino Trigans alone in the foundry of the Order of St. John. Obviously, Francesco Trigans and Giacchino Trigans were not only constrained in one parish, but they were casting bells in different churches. And the bells you are hearing from Senglea and Vittoriosa were both cast by the Trigans brothers, namely 1774 in Vittoriosa and 1794 in Senglea. The elite of Senglea commissioning Venice at this point. So here we have arrived at a point where literally the Order of St. John was dwindling, literally dwindling because of political pressure, dwindling because of the French Revolution, which was affecting more or less all the Knights of St. John, which were in their majority French knights. So we had a situation where the Order of St. John was in deep trouble, and because it was in deep trouble, its departments, including the Ferreria, had to pack up. So in this situation, we see people needing bells resorting to foreign bell foundries. And resorting to foreign bell foundries because the Ferreria in Malta was closing down, or in big trouble, or in a situation that you could be paying for money and not getting your bill. This bell was cast in Venice, specifically by Canciano dalla Venezia. Canciano dalla Venezia, for people knowing something about bells, is considered to be one of the leading bell founders worldwide, and we are very lucky to have bells by Il Canciano dalla Venezia. These two bells, both in Senglea, are both by Il Canciano dalla Venezia, Domenico Canciani, who was responsible also for casting the bells of St. Mark's Basilica also in the Lagoon City. Canciano dalla Venezia did not work only for Senglea, but he also worked for Cospicua, and you can hear in the background another bell by Canciano della Venezia, and God only knows how much these bells actually costed at the time. And the link to these three bells was specifically because a certain Antonio Mattei from Isla, who was a rich importer, was doing export and import from Venice to Malta, and he actually imported these three precious bells that are to be considered our cherry on the cake, literally in all terms, because they are three very important bells. Importation continued well into the beginning of the 19th century. And in 1809, we have the first imports coming from Sicily. In 1809, we have Ferdinando Leotta, a master founder from Acireale in Sicily, sent out one small bell for the Theresian priests, the discarded Carmelites, just across the harbor. The bell is not there anymore because it was sold to another church, the St. Alphonse Church in Birkirkara. And after about 50 years there, the bell tower was dismantled, the bell was lowered, put into storage for about 15 years, and basically about 12 years ago, I had luck to take this bell out from storage and hang it in the St. Teresa Sanctuary in Birkirkara. The bell is poorly toned, however, it rings every quarter of an hour as the hour clock of the Sanctuary of St. Teresa. More importations took place in the 19th century, and this time we have another bell founder. We have Niccolò Codullo from Militello in the Val di Noto. Niccolò Codullo has very few bells in Malta because the rest have been broken up for scrap. These bells are mainly in Cospicua at St. Paul's Church and at the Immaculate Conception, and they ring daily for Mass. The rest of Codullo bells have been broken up for scrap during the 20th century. Further imports took place also in Vittoriosa. It was a situation where people were resolving for imports, and imports had to be there because in Malta we had a situation where no bell founding was taking place, and churches still needed the importance of communicating, as I told you before. And these two bells in Vittoriosa were cast by Giovanni Bozzoli in Genoa. I'm sorry for all this stopping, but it has to be done. Eventually, we had Maltese bell founders seeing all this luxury of people commissioning bells from abroad. So the situation resulted of Maltese entrepreneurs trying their luck in bell founding. And in this scenario, we have Giovanni Antonio Tanti, a clockmaker and blacksmith by trade, trying his luck in bell founding, together with his son Antonino. Giovanni Antonio Tanti would have been better off remaining on clocks, because unfortunately his bells are what one can consider an organized disaster. However, having said that, some of his bells are good, as we shall be hearing very, very soon. The death of Giovanni Antonio Tanti must have occurred between 1813 and 1814. since the name of Giovanni Antonio does not feature in any more of his bells. However, any bells cast after this period are specifically engraved with the name of Antonino Tanti Fusor. In 1815, Antonino Tanti cast the largest bell for St. Clair. This was cast in the same year of the plague in Malta. We had a situation where morale of people was very, very low when we had the plague, and as anecdote says it, this bell was cast as thanksgiving towards God because people were still alive after the plague. After this, we had Sir Thomas Maitland donating a number of cannon in order to gain the sympathies of the people, because in such a situation, with people having whole family members killed in the plague, Sir Thomas Maitland thought it was a good idea to share with people some of the legacy that the Order of St. John had left. The big bell of St. Leon was the biggest bell in Cottonera at the time. In fact, it was called Il Campanone, the big bell, and in Maltese it is referred to as Il Ampunun. In fact, even till today, you still get people telling you Pachachu at the top of the Biru. It is still one of the common words, common phrases that you hear in Cottonera referring to bell ringing in St. Leon, especially with their big bell. Ferdinando Leotta, that had sent his bell for St. Teresa as a business card in 1809, decided to move to Malta. And to move to Malta because the Tanti family was making a disaster in casting bells, and because Malta needed somebody here in Malta, resident bell founder, to deal with its campanological needs. So the situation really called for Ferdinando Leotta and his brother Sebastiano Leotta from Acileare to come to Malta, set up foundry, and start working here. They came to Malta, they set up foundry in Indwili, just up the road, and they started casting bells for churches, starting with the Church of the Annunciation in Vittoriosa. Here, he cast a bell in 1818, which must have impressed the people that were hearing this bell on a daily basis. And in fact, you have to keep in mind that all the churches here are opposite each other, and there is rivalry, believe me, there is rivalry between these churches in all aspects, be it feasts, being bells, being the size of bells installed, anything. But it is a fact that there is competition between all these parties, and the situation certainly called for competition between each church. Ferdinando Leotta needed help in the foundry, so he got an apprentice. This apprentice was called Salvatore Cauchi, a relative to me. However, my parents, my paternal surname Cauchi comes from Cospico, so I cannot tell what the links are, but definitely the passion is still there. And Salvatore Cauchi started working with Ferdinando Leotta until Ferdinando Leotta died or left and went back to Sicily. casting bells, and casting bells together with his three children. His three children were Giacchino, Giuliano, and Costantino. We cannot tell why his children were called like that, but we do find it too much of a coincidence for the eldest boy to be called Giacchino. We have to keep in mind that we had Giacchino Trigans casting bells in the beginning of the 19th century. So in this scenario, possibly Salvatore Cauchi had been apprentice or helped Giacchino Trigans to name his eldest son Giacchino. The second son, Giuliano, being the best bell founder of the lot, and the youngest son, Costantino, who was only mentioned on one bell in Balzano. Salvatore Cauchi appears to have died in 1871, simply because his name doesn't appear on bells after this date. So until 1871, all bells by Salvatore Cauchi were inscribed Salvatore Cauchi Figli Fecit Malta Cospicua. After 1871, all of a sudden, we have Maestro Giuliano Cauchi e Fratelli Fecit Malta Cospicua. So in this interim, we have Giuliano Cauchi taking over. In 1877, Giuliano Cauchi had been experimenting with a number of bells, but in 1877 he decided to take the plunge. And by taking the plunge, I mean that from very small bells he went to make some huge castings, weighing over 3.5 tons. And his first attempt was for Floriana Parish Church. So facing Floriana Parish Church, the belfry on the left, it is the facade bell christened Maria Lourdes. That was the very first bell that Giuliano Cauchi cast in such a huge size. The bell was well acclaimed for, the bell was very well received from the Floriana people, tantamount that they ordered a second bell from Giuliano to be cast in the next year, 1870. Giuliano Cauchi was still in his experimenting phase. He made a slightly smaller bell than the one he had cast, and lo and behold, the minute that the new bell of 1878 arrived in Floriana, this bell had the same tonality of the 1877 bell. So you can just imagine what big trouble Giuliano Cauchi had in this scenario. The bell was refused, outrightly refused. We have documentation that people did not want this bell, cast by the funds of a certain Gaetano Mangione, and Giuliano Cauchi, which was still in his beginning of his career, could not afford such a big commercial loss. So in this situation, there were always people trying to reap benefits out of the situation. As we say, with gladiators, mors tua vita mea, we have a situation where Cauchi had a redundant bell, and the people of St. George's Parish Church in Ormy went to Cauchi to bargain on the bell, possibly without even checking whether the bell was in tune with the rest. I'm saying possibly because the bell is not out of tune with the rest, but I sincerely have my doubts in this period whether people were actually concerned of getting a good bell matching the rest of the bells in the tower or getting a bargain. I sincerely have my doubts on this. However, Giuliano Cauchi had to make two contracts. One of releasing Floriana from the bad bell of 1878 and do another contract to give it to Ormy, and two, another contract with the Floriana people to cast a second bell, a copy of the first, in 1879. So we have a very busy 3 years for Giuliano Cauchi in his experimenting phase. The 1879 bell proved to be an excellent bell, a good companion for the 1877 bell. However, obviously, this was a good advert for Cauchi to cast new bells. But in Cotonera, they were still a little bit they were testing Giuliano Cauchi, because we have to keep in mind Giuliano Cauchi was from Cospicua, and being from Cotonera, people were a little bit not quite sure about this new entrepreneur spirit of Giuliano Cauchi. The first church in Cotonera to test Giuliano Cauchi was the Annunciation Church, which there is behind me, in 1880. I'm afraid the sound does not do justice to Giuliano Cauchi. The problem is that this bell cracked badly in 1952 and was taken down to the docks to be welded. It was welded with the known Flemish welding technique over honesty. This bell sounds impressive even when you consider that this is a welded bell in the mortgage lighthouse. Of course, it's not a perfect bell, but for the time it was. So just imagine in 1880 the people of Cotonera hearing this wonderful bell, not yet cracked, and what they felt when they heard this bell ringing for the first time in 1880. The first reaction was, we go to Giuliano Cauchi and order a bigger bell than this. And in 1881, St. Lea ordered a bigger bell from Giuliano Cauchi, and this is where the heyday of Giuliano Cauchi started taking place, and people were ordering bells like mad from Giuliano Cauchi. Now, he wasn't doing one bell every year, he was doing one big bell every year. He was doing many other smaller bells all over wood and bronze, which obviously I couldn't risk because you wouldn't hear them ring. But I am giving you this scenario of what the people were saying when they were hearing all these new bells coming into being. The St. Lea bell turned out also a big masterpiece, and obviously the situation in Vittorioso St. Lawrence became a little bit difficult, because in 1882 they couldn't take it that the Annunciation had a fantastic bell cast in 1880, St. Lea Basilica in 1881, and St. Lawrence Parish Church did not have their blessed big bell, which they had been yearning for since 1815, when St. Lea had commissioned Giovanni Almonte with his big bell. And the situation was difficult to comprehend. Well, I would ask you, Lord, who is the next to get a big bell now? We've gone to the Annunciation of Vittoriosa. We've gone up to St. Lea. We've gone down to Vittoriosa St. Lawrence. And the next in line is obviously Cospicua. Cospicua was the last, but Cospicua had a problem. Giuliano Cauchi was from Cospicua, and they wanted the best bell out of him. And they were still testing out what Giuliano Cauchi would eventually do. But they weren't so sure that the rest of the churches wouldn't order new, bigger bells from Giuliano Cauchi. So they decided to wait. And they waited for the situation to avail itself. In this period, we had many people coming from various parish churches coming to hear these new bells. We've spoken about 1882 as the last date when Cauchi cast bells for Cotonera in St. Lawrence Church in Vittoriosa. So what happens after 1882? We have in 1885 the parish church of Zeytun commissioning its biggest bell. 1886 the Church of the Souls of Purgatory in Valletta commissioned Cauchi a full set of bells, which to date is his masterpiece. 1887 the casting of the huge bell for Tarshin. In 1888 and 1893, Sharqiya Church commissioning Giuliano County to make its biggest bell. And 1894, what happens in 1894? Very simple. I think Giuliano County had done enough bells to convince his parish church of Prospigua, to start commissioning them, to start prove them right against all the other churches in Cotonera. But they took it easily. And they took it easily by commissioning first a bell in 1894, which was not so large, and it was sent as a test. Sorry, I didn't bank on darkness. In 1895 comes with it the biggest bell of Cotonera, and this is the one of Prospigua. To date, it is the largest bell by Giuliano County, cast in his foundry in Anguilli, 1895, and christened Maria Pia on the 15th of August, 1895. The remainder of Giuliano County can be said that during this period he had his own problems, and the problems were competition as usual in the Maltese way. In Malta the problem is that if you start a business selling cakes in the street, the next day you'll find 6 people selling cakes like you. And it was the same situation in the late 19th century, having people casting bells in Malta. 1891 was a very, very busy year for Cauchi. The St. Helens Basilica in Birkirkara commissioned Cauchi, well, they tried to commission Cauchi to cast a huge bell for them, but Cauchi was busy with many other commissions, and he refused the commission for the simple reason that he knew that he was the only good bell founder that could cast such a request. But a cowboy from Prospigua, under the name of Joseph Gregg, who was a founder in the dry docks, started casting propellers, and in the scenario told Birkirkara Basilica that he was ready to take on the commission to cast a huge bell for St. Helens Basilica in 1891. The situation, of course, for Giuliano County must have been devastating, because he was kicked in the teeth by somebody from his own hometown trying to cast a bell that he was not capable of casting for. Gregg cast the big bell in 1891. It weighed almost 10 tons at the time, but was pronounced a disaster in the foundry. However, the bell was still installed in the belfries of St. Helens Basilica, but it cracked soon after. So in this situation, I can only tell you to try and imagine what sort of situation this was, with Giuliano County having his competitor in such a humiliating situation. In this situation, the people of Birkirkara went to Giuliano County and told him, listen, we've been let down by the bell of Joseph Gregg. What is your situation? Would you please cast a big bell for us? And he told them, of course I will. Of course I will. I will actually pull down the Joseph Gregg bell from the tower, and because of transport reasons, I will actually smash the Joseph Gregg church on the parvis. He did this obviously to humiliate the founder, Joseph Gregg, for trying to step into his affairs. And the bell by Joseph Gregg was smashed on the parvis of St. Helens Basilica at the turn of the century, and in 1900 Giuliano County cast his largest bell which weighed over 8 tons and was the only bell to cast in 1900. The situation was as we are saying. Very difficult to comprehend because of the rivalry between each church and also the technical expertise that there was going on in Cottonera and with the developments so far. The first complete set, therefore, that we are going to hear is the peal in Cospiqua. And I'm going to start with Cospiqua for the simple reason that we didn't have the time to hear Cospiqua well because the bells of Cospiqua are set aside, but it is important to hear what the whole set of bells at Cospiqua sounds like after Giuliano Pauchi finished casting his biggest bell in 1895. That is the big Kauki bell, the last one. After the bells of Cospiqua, we are going to hear the bells of Senglea Basilica just up here. And obviously we're going to start the bells from the smallest to the largest, the 4 main bells. We have St. Lawrence Church in Vittoriosa. Last but not least, the bells of the Annunciation Church that we heard in the beginning of this of tonight. So, we're having a short break now, a short break in the bell career though. Because what happened in this period, Giuliano Cauchi died suddenly on the 24th of April 1904, and he's buried in the Addolorata Cemetery. He left a huge legacy. He is buried in the tomb of the Confraternity of the Holy Rosary at the Addolorata Cemetery. I've done a lot of research and finally found that his bones are in vault number 19C. It was a nightmare to find them, but we found them. And I hope that one day we put some sort of marble plaque who really needs to be remembered. But believe me, from the Addolorata Cemetery, his voice and his work still sounds out. But what Giuliano Cauchi did, and definitely left as an indelible mark on Maltese campanology, was the mark that Giuliano Cauchi never taught any people how to cast bells. The trade just died with him. It was a big pity that he did so, but on the other hand, thank God he did so, because having a vacuum in Malta of no bell founding going on in Malta at the time, people went outside our shores to start commissioning bells from excellent bell foundries in Europe. And the situation started in Cotonera, started to take good shape in 1935, just before the start of World War II. Obviously before this we had many importations in Malta of excellent bells, but needless to say, the situation did not avail itself to Cotonera. Cotonera did this move in 1935 with 3 bells cast by the British Bell Foundry of Gillett and Johnston. It was owned by Cyril Frederick Johnston. Cyril Frederick Johnston was a clockmaker, a professional clockmaker by trade. However, he was a very good businessman, and he decided to try and copy his arch rivals, John Taylor Bell Founders of Loughborough. Now, John Taylor Bell Founders had very recently, before this, to be precise in 1895, they had discovered the art, rediscovered actually, the art of harmonic tuning, of how one could tune a bell to perfection. And this discovery was done in 1895 by a certain priest called Canon Arthur Simpson, who went to Taylor's Bell Foundry. He spoke to John William Taylor and told him, listen, I need to speak to you. Your bells do not sound correct. And Taylor was taken aback. How on earth are you saying you to me that our bells sounded correct? Yes, they sounded correct because they need to be tuned. And Canon Simpson and John William Taylor were speaking their thoughts together, and they saw that there were many common elements between them that bells really needed to be tuned. And from that point onwards, bells in the Taylor Bell Foundry started being harmonically tuned. And that is when the new bells started being tuned and marketed as the Taylor-Simpson tuning method. Obviously, Cyril Frederick Johnston, who was the arch rival of Taylor, decided to copy this from Taylor's, possibly by buying a second-hand bell or a new bell from Taylor's, cutting it right through to copy the profile of the bell, see from where the metal was being shaved in order to get into the market by providing quotations which were cheaper than Taylor. So we have a situation where the Maltese are being ruled by the British. They needed a bell founder, so the obvious choice was a British bell foundry. Croydon is very near to London, so the choice of going to Cyril Frederick Johnston instead of Taylor's was a very realistic one, and these 3 bells were commissioned to the Gillett and Johnston Bell Foundry in 1935 and formed a major chord in G natural. We will soon be hearing the bells of Saint Teresa. can hear the difference, how sweet these bells sound. These bells mesmerized Ottonera, and they mesmerized the remainder of Malta, because Malta tasted for the first time 3 harmonically tuned bells. But the problem with these 3 bells was very simple, that they were slightly small. And the prior of the order of the disguised Carmelites always complained to me, Ken, these bells are too small, these bells are too small. And I used to tell him, yes, you can make a bigger bell. And I also provided a quotation for him. But told me it is beyond my budget. And one fine day, I found a second-hand bell, which was for sale, which suited the prior's needs precisely. It was a bell cast in 1930 by John Taylor this time, and John Taylor, we are speaking about the arch rival of Cyril Frederick Johnston. John Taylor cast this bell as the largest bell of a carillon. A carillon is a huge piano, but a huge piano that doesn't strike on chords, but it strikes on bells. And this was a demonstration instrument within the bell foundry. This was the biggest bell, but prior to World War II, all the bells were removed from the tower, broken down for scrap, but the biggest bell was kept aside because it was a very historically important bell. This bell, after the war, was alone. There was no scope to conserve it, and it was sold to a church in Goldthorpe in Yorkshire. After this, the Goldthorpe Church in Yorkshire, for some reason, closed down. The bell was sold to another church in Uckfield, St. Philip Mary and the Immaculate Conception Church. But once again, this bell unfortunately couldn't find a home in Uckfield, and it went into a redundant place for bells to be sold as scrap. This came to my attention. I checked about the specifications of the bell. They were excellent. However, the 3 bells at St. Teresa are tuned on old standard pitch of 435 Hz, and this bell by Taylor's was tuned to the new pitch of 440 Hz, because Cyril Frederick Johnston was a very good copier, but he was not up to date as Taylor's were. And the Teresian priest commissioned me to get this bell over to Malta in 2010, and this bell today graces the tower, and you will soon hear this bell ringing with the other 3. I've said enough. However, I've got some acknowledgements to make before the final peal. Special thanks for this organization go to Mr. Joe Sherry, Mr. Roderick Camilleri, and Ms. Marika Zoppardi from the Malta Society of Arts, Manufacture and Commerce, whose initial idea it was to use Maltese bells to promote the conservation of intangible cultural heritage, and for the technical assistance of Wayne Ungaromitsi, whose assistance in IT was indispensable. Special thanks go to Belringer Raiden Mitzi, who offered his immediate excellent recording services for this event tonight. bells are generally found in churches. Thus, it goes without saying that sincere gratitude goes to His Grace, the old Auxiliary Bishop, Joseph Galliacurni, who gave his immediate approval upon being presented with the proposal earlier this year, and the following individuals whose cooperation was so necessary to ensure that the ideal materializes as intended. The Very Reverend Anthony Cassar, Archpriest of Cospicua, and his sacristan Jonathan Farrugia, the Very Reverend Robin Camilleri, Archpriest of Senglia, and his sacristan Gino Parnis, the Very Reverend Carmelo Busuttil, Archpriest of Vittoriosa, and his sacristan Carmelo Cicluna, the Reverend Prior Aaron Zara from the Dominican Priory of the Annunciation in Vittoriosa, the Reverend Provincial Prior Martin Borch from the Discalced Carmelite Priory of St. Teresa, Cospicua. The following tower captains that have communicated with the undersigned incessantly over the last days and coordinated ringing throughout the entire performance of tonight. Daniel Patch at the Collegiate Church of the Immaculate Conception, Cospicua, Francesco Galli at the Basilica of the Virgin of Victory, Senglia, Colin Zammit at the Collegiate Church of the St. Lawrence, Vittoriosa, Lauro Abela at the Church of the Annunciation, Vittoriosa, and Anthony Seikel at the Church of St. Teresa, Cospicua. The following bell ringers for accepting to participate without hesitation and whose direct input was crucial to appreciate the various bells that have performed tonight. Here, being set in alphabetical order, Brif Faraul, Kakia Frashmoon, Kalleya Dimer, Kalleya Kurt, Camilleri Dwayne, Camilleri Matthew, Caruana Mario, Chini Vince, Duca Colvin, Incorvaya Kyle, Lagana Joseph Sr., Lagana Joseph Jr., Mikallef Adrian, Melbourne Brendan, Montebello Tyron, Muscat Luca, Patch Julia, Shiberras Ryan, Shkembri Paul, Shkembri Ronnie, Seikel Luke, and Zammit Charlie. Last but not least, a very special word of appreciation goes to my old friends and colleagues, Benny and Carl Bugeya of Benny's Bell Ringers, who took the challenge hands down and were indispensable to congregate the largest number of bell ringers simultaneously, definitely for a first time in the history of Maltese campanology. I will soon invite you to hear all the bells of Cottonera ringing all together very, very soon. Thank you.